question insert intervals. Now let me explain this question a little bit, and then we'll look at the couple of approaches how to solve this. Okay, so the question is pretty simple. We're given a list of intervals which are basically ranges, and we have a new interval, so we need to insert that interval or range into the given list of ranges. And if there is an overlap, we need to solve that, basically merge the overlapping ranges and give the result. Okay, so it's given that the input intervals, they are non-overlapping and that they are in an ascending order as well. Okay, and the result which we have to produce is also supposed to be in an ascending order. Okay, so let's say for example we have this 1 2 3, right, and we have 6 to 9, and we have the new interval 2, 5. So this is a non-overlapping sorted in ascending order on the basis of the starting index, right? And we have to insert this 2, 5. So 2, 5 goes right between 1 and 3, and we'll extend it or merge these two. So 1 2 3, 2 to 5, we combine those two, it becomes 1 to 5, and then the remaining non-overlapping parts are 6 to 9. So yeah, that's what we are left with. That's the result which we want to produce. Okay, so let's see how we can so there are a couple of ways we can go about with this. One is if you've done question number 56 on Leetcode, which is merge intervals, so this can be like an extension of that. Okay, so if you've done that, let's say the merge interval, so this is basically we're adding another interval, and the new interval could be overlapping with the remaining the existing list. We need to merge it, and that's about it. That's the result which we'll get. Okay, so if you haven't looked at the question, I have a link in the description. You can go to that and look at that question as well. So just very briefly go through this, and then we'll look at another more intuitive approach. Okay, so let's say we have this list of intervals, we get a new interval somewhere here, it could be overlapping, right? So in the merge intervals, what we do is sort it in an ascending order and merge the overlapping parts, right? So this is exactly the same thing. So you sort and do that. So yeah, so just pretty much follow those steps and you'll be done. And then the second thing which you can look at, let me just put the steps. So what we do is append the new interval, sort basically from, and then merge. So this part is already there in the merge intervals question, which is 56. You can go to that, and this is exactly that, and we are appending a new interval. So that is like a one-liner, whatever programming language you use. So yeah, what would be the complexity for this? So we're sorting here, so that's going to be n log n, and the rest of it is this is also order 1, this is order n. Yeah, so that's going to be the complexity of it. Okay, so now let's look at more intuitive approach. Okay, so the question, so whatever question is given, there are a couple of ways to look at any question. One is you simulate whatever is given in the question. The second thing is you just look at the answer. So sometimes in the question the answer itself is given and you have to code along that. Right? So this is not a question where the answer is given. This is a question where a situation is given and you probably have to simulate that situation to reach the solution. Okay, so what is the problem? Let's try to simulate it. Okay, so we have this number line. Okay, Let me quickly put the numbers. 6. Okay, so we are given sorted ranges, non-overlapping sorted ranges. Okay, so it can keep going beyond this as well, but yeah, so that's it. And we are now out of the blue there is a new interval jumping into this given set of ranges. Okay, so that new interval, it can end up anywhere in this line. So it can end up here, it can end up here, it can end up here, it can end up anywhere. Okay, so what would be a very simple way to go about with this? So let's just take a general case. Okay, so let's say it ends up somewhere in the middle. Okay, so what do? We can do is whatever is before it, it's obviously already sorted, it is unaffected by the new interval. Okay, so this remains as it is. Okay, so this becomes part of the answer as it is. Whatever is after merging it, that also remains unaffected, that is part of answer as it is. Whatever is in the middle, so this part is where some sort of merging, overlapping is happening, and we need to solve this part. But these two parts are pretty much simple, right? You just need to push these unaffected parts into the answer as it is, merge the middle section. That's about it. So it doesn't matter if our interval is even before it. How does it matter, right? So there's nothing before it, so I don't do anything about it. I do the merging part, and whatever is remaining after it, I put it in the answer as well. Okay, so if this, let's say it was after the entire range, so whatever is before it, it becomes part of the answer as it is. Here I do the merging part. If there is anything after that or not, doesn't matter, we push it. If there is something, we push it in the answer. If nothing, no, we just skip it, right? So yeah, I think this logic is pretty simple. It works and it's easy to understand, really easy to implement as well. So this is the tricky part. We just look into this, how we can go about with this. These two sections 1 and 3 are pretty simple. Okay, so yeah, let's see how we can implement this part too. So what we're doing is whatever part is before the new interval, we put it as part of the answer. So how do we check if it is before the interval, right? So this is the interval's starting point, this is the ending point. Okay, so whatever has ended before the starting point, that is not of any relevance, right? If it is already ended before the starting point, it is of no use to us. Whatever is starting after the ending point, that is also of no use to us. Okay, so yeah, let's say we just put that check. Whatever is ending before starting point, we already solved that. Now we're left with something like this. Okay, so we're left with this line. We have a new interval and we have an existing interval which has not ended before the starting point of this. This is the starting point, this is the ending point. So this new interval has not ended before the starting of it. So where will it end? It will end either here or it will end here. Okay, cool. So it doesn't matter, like it can start anywhere. So it may be like it's starting here, it's starting here, it's starting here. Okay, so these are the possible starting points of it. Like so starting point could be before the interval, could be in the middle of the interval, it could be after the interval. So these are the possible starting points and these are the possible ending points. Okay, so this is the interval, this is the existing block. So what do we want to do here? What we have to do is, just checking in what cases will there be an overlap and we have to merge, right? So in case So the ending point is not that important, right? So an ending point could be here, ending point could be here. There can still be an overlap. There can still be an overlap from here. Okay, so ending point is not that important. The starting point is important. If the starting point is after the interval itself, then then we cannot have an overlap. Okay, so we'll have an overlap if and only if the starting point is before the ending of this interval. Okay, so this is the case where there will be no overlap. Okay, if the starting is after the ending point of this. Okay, so that's about it. That's the condition we need to put, that if the starting point of the next interval, starting point of, let's say, this thing here, if it is after the end here, there'll be no overlap, otherwise there will be an overlap. Okay, so if it is ending here, it is ending here, it doesn't matter. It could be starting here and have an overlap, it could be starting here, have an overlap, it could be starting here and have an overlap. If and only if it starts here, it will not have an overlap. This is a non-overlapping set. Okay, these are non-overlapping. Okay, so that's it. That's the logic we'll put, and let's look at the code. So let's look at the solution here. Yeah, so this is very simple code. What we're doing is whatever is ending, so this is interval has been represented by starting and ending point, which is 0th index is starting, 1 is ending. So if it is ending before the starting of our interval, we just push it in result. It's not important for us. So now what we're left with, whatever next index we have, right, we have to ensure that it is starting point is before the ending point of our new interval, right? So this current index is basically, it's been initialized with the new interval. Okay, so we need to ensure that the starting point of this is before the ending point of this, and in that case there will be an overlap. So what will be the new interval? So it's the same as merge interval. So minimum of the starting points and maximum of the ending points, that will be the new range. We'll keep iterating through the array as long as there are there are overlaps, right? So let's say, for example, here we have a range and we had this, like this. So, and we have an interval of this sort. So we're ensuring that starting point of this is before the ending point of new interval, right? Before the end of new interval. So again, for this one as well, starting is less than equal to end of new interval. Okay, so it continues. As long as this continues, there will be an overlap. We'll take min of this 2 and max of these 2, that becomes the new range. Okay, and then we take the min of these 2, max of this and this, so this becomes the new range. Okay, so we'll keep continuing. Sorry, so this becomes the new range. Okay, and we'll keep continuing as long as starting is less than equal to end. So this is ending here, its starting is not less than equal to this end, so it is, that's where we stop. And that this part becomes the third part of the answer, which is whatever is remaining until we reach the end of the interval. We just keep pushing it in the result, and that's where we get all of the results, all of the values. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for this question. Let me know if you have any questions or any doubts in the comment section. Thank you.